Okay, what up ladies and gents, it's your favorite Asian robot right here. Hopefully, your favorite official content creator for the First Descendant. And today, what we're going to do is that I'm going to talk to you guys about the Executor build that you guys have seen on my stream several times. Alright, I'm going to go through it, explain it, then I'll show you guys the demonstration, all the goodies. Alright, so let's get started. Now, as always, before we get into things, if you haven't already registered me as your favorite content creator, make sure you do so via the link in the video description. Okay? The more support I have, the more I can do for you. Now, let's begin. When it comes to the Executor, first and foremost, we need to understand the base stats. Alright? So, here it is. The Executor has a firearm attack of 7,722. Alright, I've got an option that increases it. And this is on a per pellet basis. Okay? So, this damage is per pellet. Now, shell capacity, all right, is the amount of pellets that is being shot by this shotgun, okay? So the initial attack is 15 pellets. If you use shell up, this goes from 15 to 20, which is fantastic, all right? It should be 20, but I'll just double check the calculation a little later. That being said, the idea here is that this firearm attack will be multiplied by shell capacity to give you the final damage that you're doing, all right? But do take note that if there's a crit, all the pellets will crit. If it's a weak spot hit, it's a bit different because it depends on where the pellet lands, okay? So do be aware of that. Okay. Fire rate is fire rate. You guys already know this. Rounds per magazine is how many bullets are in the mag, yeah? Reload time, you guys know this. This gun does not have any critical hit rate. However, its unique ability allows it to reach 100% criticals. So you guys should know about this already. The multiplier is very low. Okay, it's a 1.1 times multiplier, which is super sad. But that's okay. That's what the critical damage option is for. Okay. Attribute status trigger effect is really low, but it triggers individually for each pellet. So chances are that you might actually trigger an attribute with this thing. Weak point multiplier is literally 1 times, which is, again, really, really bad. But that's okay because you will be multiplying the damage in other ways. Basically, this gun overall sucks, theoretically, until you realize that, like I said, you can multiply its damage pretty nicely. All right? Hipfire accuracy, aim shot accuracy is terrible. And you need to max out the Executor in order to ensure that you don't lose more of this, because the unique ability, and I'll show you later, the negative effect is on accuracy, which is terrible for this gun. The damage drop-off range starts at 9 meters, so you literally have to be point blank with this thing. I would say target the weak spots on legs rather than shoulders if you can, because you are barely going to be able to hit anything with this gun. And the attack drop-off modifier is literally 0.1 times. So starting at 9 meters and every little bit after that, you're losing up to 90% of your damage. This is why the Executor is considered notoriously terrible, but it actually can dish out a lot of damage with Gley. All right? So specifically with Gley, it can do well, but you have to be very, very careful of this range. The effective drop-off range is the biggest killer of your damage. So take note of that. All right, the rest of the stuff is just standard stuff. Sprint speed 800, movement speed 530, while firing 350, while aiming 260. All right. Okay, now on to the unique ability. Now this is where things start to really kick off. Okay, the Executor has an ability that says on hitting the enemy with all fired bullets, you get Executor's Exaltation. When hitting at maximum level, the weak point damage multiplier is increased and applied, and the target enemy is inflicted with the electrocuted effect. All right? Executor's Exaltation is an effect that lasts for 5 seconds. The max stack's 3. It grants you 10% extra accuracy and an extra 5% accuracy per stack. So an extra 25% accuracy in total. The firearm critical hit rate is 33%. And per stack, it's 33%, right? So basically, thanks to the unique ability of this, once it starts triggering, you can actually reach 100% critical hit rate. You also get an extra 30% critical hit damage and an extra 30% critical hit damage per stack of this. It also increases your firing speed by 5%, and the per stack increases 5%, so it's pretty awesome. And the weak point damage at the maximum amount of stacks is an extra 20%. All right. Now, the electrocution will last for 4 seconds. It'll deal full firearm damage every 0.5 seconds, and it reduces enemy defense by 3%. All right. The 3% is nothing much, but hey, this electrocution effect is pretty good. Okay, now that you understand the unique ability of this weapon and the base stats of the weapon, let's talk about the modules. All right. For the Executor, here's what I'm using. I'm going to remove my cam and go through everything stage by stage. There we go. Okay, now, like with all other weapons, you are going to want to start with rifling reinforcement and action and reaction. This gives you a total of 93% increased firearm attack. Now, hit rate focus is excellent because it gives you extra accuracy to compensate for real life fighter. The extra accuracy also comes with additional crit hit damage of 13%. All right. If you were to look at the tab stats, your multiplier becomes double, which is really nice. And this is base without the buff of Executor's exaltation. And your weak point multiplier is 1.5. All right. This will be in total. I'll show you where we get all the rest of the stats. Now, real life fighter is excellent. Although it reduces accuracy by 20% when you successfully attack a weak point, which you should be able to since you literally have to fire practically point blank, you will gain firearm attack of 10%, up to 10 stacks. Fun fact, you can actually stack them all at once simply by blasting the weak point once or twice. All right, this gives you practically max stacks, although some pellets might stray. This is pretty awesome, and done correctly, you can up your damage to an insane amount. Next, better concentration is extremely important. Why? You need to increase your firearm critical hit damage. Same with concentration priority, the reload time doesn't matter because you're going to use this on Gley. Next, you want to increase your weak point damage as much as possible. And of course your fire rate. So fire rate up is here. Weak point sight will help you with that. 35% extra weak point damage. And of course focus fire, an extra 20% here, plus critical hit damage, right? Last but not least, you need shell up. This is giving you a 33% damage increase basically. Why? It increases your shell capacity. Remember how I said shell capacity affects your pellets? This is giving you an extra 5 pellets. So instead of hitting with 15 pellets, you're hitting with 20. All of them can crit. All of them are getting their damage multiplied. That's how insane this shotgun gets, right? And the best part is that you can actually construct this whole build without actually putting a catalyst in for the fire rate up. You have to put in a catalyst for everything else, but it's up to you. Now, there is one thing which I will say. If you want to put in an elemental attack in this, you absolutely can. All right. You will miss out on the weak point multiplier for the elemental attack, but it can increase your damage quite a bit. It depends on if you're willing to spend the catalyst or not. Now you would need to catalyze your fire rate up, of course, and then replace focus fire or shell up. Either one of these, you're going to have to replace it with all the elemental slots. It's really up to you if you want to do this. I am very lazy, so I chose not to do this. But like I said, the choice at the end of the day is yours. Okay. The weak point multipliers aren't great. So you would actually gain more from having an enhancement, but it's going to cost you like an extra 4 or 5 catalysts to do that. So choice is yours, and you're going to have to switch for every boss that you fight. Okay. Choice is yours, but I leave that up to you. Now, you've heard the explanation of everything. You've heard all the stuff that this thing can do. Now I'm sure you want to see it in action. So for those of you that missed the stream where I showcased all this, I will showcase it in action. We're going to have to use the Gley gun build, all right, which you should already recognize. The only thing is that I jam Massive Sanctification in there, but I don't use it, so it's just there for being there. All right. I'll do a couple of these now. Again, if you missed the stream, I highly recommend you check out the full stream if you want to see everything in action, including matches where we use this in public runs, things like that. All right. I am going to try and not only demonstrate how to play this, but I will also explain why it is so crucial. All right. Distance is the biggest thing that you are going to face. Distance is the biggest thing that you are going to face, and I hope you will understand why you have to face that. Okay, so be very careful and be aware that it is not easy to handle this build. Okay, now we're gonna use the Executioner as an example. Like I said, you want to be very, very up close and personal. Trigger your ability. Like, you'll notice I'm literally right next to his leg. All right, I'm gonna start blasting his leg. Now, if he brings down his shoulder, then by all means, you know, you can go ham. But realistically, you want to hit something like the leg joint. All right, this is what you want to do. If you run out of ammo, he will phase. All right, but it's a simple enough situation to just, you know, pop him. Notice that the damage is not that great when I haven't actually ramped it up yet. All right, so this is a good, like, first step. It's just a way of showing you how to run this kind of thing. It'll work, but you have to be aware that, you know, it's going to take practice getting in close. All right, I'm going to show you a few more examples with things like Dead Bride, and Devourer, of course. But Devourer, everybody can kill him with anything. You can kill him with a pocket knife because his HP is so low. But Devourer and Gluttony are actually the best ones to use the Executor on because their weak points are huge and close to the ground. All right, so we're going to do the same thing again. Now we're going to go into Dead Bride, quick private intercept right there. And again, I'll try and demonstrate all these various situations to you guys so you understand why we do the things we do and how this is supposed to operate in combat. It takes practice. Not gonna lie to you, it's fun. It's fun as heck. It takes practice. Charging into an enemy and making that shoddy bounce is beautiful. But it's not easy. It's not easy. Okay, Dead Bride now, right? Now, Dead Bride, you can kind of cheese it a little bit because she's got a unique movement pattern. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna run all the way here. Now, you can't do this in a team fight, but in a team fight there are other distractions, i.e. other players, right? What we're gonna do is we're gonna run all the way back here. Turn on your frenzy. All right. Once she steps a little bit away from that lava area, right? Just keep going closer. Now, this is where you do it. Try and get to her back ankle as much as you can, right? And if she starts moving back, that's okay. Wait for your ability to cool. Don't trigger her frenzy just yet. If you get a knockdown on her, now this is where the fun begins. Try to get in close while blasting. You just do not want to stop firing no matter what. Alright, and she can usually actually kill her without phasing. I've actually done so in some YouTube shorts, but it's not as easy as some might think. Alright. Now abuse your unlimited ammo and start shooting for her tubes. The upper tube is so annoying to hit. There we go. I hate those kingfishers so much. Anyway, now I just finish her off because she's nothing. Now, what you will notice is that if they have small weak points, it is way better to actually use something like Greg's, Enduring Legacy, all this kind of stuff. Executor is not always the best choice, okay? It's a good choice, but it's not always the best choice. You gotta understand that the size of the weak point plays a huge factor in how easily you're going to be able to kill stuff with this. All right, and again, if you want to actually see it, rather than watching these small demonstrations, please do actually watch the streams, the live streams where I use this, because it's a lot easier to see how this works in some of the tougher situations like Molten Fortress, Gluttony, all that kind of stuff. I've done all that on stream. A little bit hard to do this here because it's so random dependent and things like that, but you know, if you want the information, it's all there. Now, one last one. Devourer. Okay, so Executioner is roughly like medium-sized weak point. Devourer is large, and Dead Bride is small. Frostwalker, Swampwalker also count in the small category, so you will struggle the most with them. I don't know what Deathstalker will be, but I'm looking forward to it. Okay. Now let's get this done, shall we? Now Devourer is going to be done in seconds. Guaranteed. There is no way he can phase. There's no way he can avoid your shots. Just so you know. Once he comes down, step in close and start blasting. As you can see, his knee is massive. He has no way of avoiding your shots. So it's just a guaranteed kill. Gluttony is the same way, but Gluttony does a lot of damage and has a lot more hit points. So be very careful when using this on Gluttony. If you need to know the technique, study the streams. Alright? Study the streams. There you go. Alright, that's how the Executor is used in combat. I've given you guys a full and thorough demonstration. You applying it in actual combat, though, that's up to you. Alright? Study the streams, study the techniques, and you'll be able to do what I do. Alright? Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I hope you guys enjoy the content, enjoy the Executor, especially if you've been looking forward to this particular build. Now, we are going to thank some of our top supporters, alright, for this month. And you know how it goes. We always got to do that thank you. Alright, here we go. Let me pull up the list. It takes a second, but I have to pull up the list. The list. Because the list is always changing a little bit here and there. This has been a very kind month. I really have to thank a lot of you for the love and support you guys have given me. Here are this month's top supporters, okay? Anonymous as our top tipper, $500 tip right there. Another Gary, thank you for being a top tipper. Top super chatter is Yuri. Literally Yuri and George have the same level. So top super chatter list includes George Tishon, D Russ, Track Hoodie, Grand Roku, Fisher, Sir Tommy Gunn, Ted Wu, Craig Ricketts, The One. Thank you for the lovely super chats. The channel membership gifter is Arcane Silver 300. We also have Jonathan Terry and BW. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to all of our top tier channel members as well. Y'all know who you are. BVS Fang, George Tishon, Nisk, Arcane, Star, Haza, CG, Track, all the usual people. They're all the same people in that list. That Dawning 982. Thank y'all so much. I'll see y'all on the next one, okay? Y'all have a good one. Catch you later.